I am 88 years old. The richest I ever was the loneliest I ever was. And I'm sitting here in this empty house, surrounded by things that don't talk back, wondering how the hell I traded my best friend for money that I can't even spend anymore. My name is Samuel. I've got maybe a year left, maybe less. The doctors don't tell me much anymore. They just smile and nod and increase the morphine. But before I go, I need to tell you about Tommy Brennan, about what I did, about the choice I made that cost me everything that actually mattered. Tommy was my best friend for 43 years. 43 years. We met in the army, 1962. Two scared kids from Brooklyn who didn't know anything about anything. He saved my life in Vietnam. Literally, dragged me out of a rice paddy when I took shrapnel in my leg. Carried me on his back for 2 miles while the Viet Cong was shooting at us. 2 miles. When we got back to base, I looked him in the eye and I said, "Tommy, I owe you everything." He just laughed and said, "Sam, we're brothers now. Brothers don't keep score." We came home in '68, both of us broken in different ways. Tommy couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop drinking, but we had each other. We started a small construction business together, Brennan and Associates. He wanted to put my name first, but I said no. Tommy was the people person. I was good with numbers, but Tommy could talk to anybody. Contractors loved him. Clients trusted him. He had this way of making you feel like you'd known him your whole life. For 15 years, we built that business together. We weren't getting rich, but we were doing good work. We were honest. We paid our guys fair wages. We showed up on time. We did what we said we were going to do. And most importantly, we had each other's backs, always. Tommy got married in 1974. Beautiful girl named Maria. She was good for him, calmed him down. I was his best man. I remember standing there watching him say his vows, and I thought, this is what happiness looks like. They had 2 kids, little Sarah and Tommy Jr. I was Uncle Sam to those kids. Spent every Christmas at their house, every birthday, every Sunday dinner. They were my family too. In 1983, we got the call that changed everything. The city was looking for a contractor to build a new housing development, $30 million project. The biggest thing either of us had ever seen. If we got it, we'd be set for life. Both of us could retire by 60. Our kids could go to college. Our wives could stop worrying about money. But there was a problem. The bid was due in 2 weeks, and we didn't have the capital to even submit a proposal. The bonding requirements alone were more than our entire net worth. We were small time. This was big league. That's when Vincent Marcelli showed up. Vinny was connected, if you know what I mean. He had money, he had political connections, and he wanted in on the development deal. He came to our office on a Tuesday afternoon, wearing a suit that cost more than my car. "Boys," he said, sitting down in Tommy's chair like he owned the place, "I hear you're interested in the Riverside project." Tommy was suspicious from the minute Vinny walked in. He'd grown up in the neighborhood. He knew what kind of man Vincent Marcelli was. But I saw dollar signs. I saw the corner office, the big house, the respect that comes with money. Vinny's proposition was simple. He'd provide the capital and the political connections to guarantee we got the contract. In exchange, he wanted 60% ownership of the company. Tommy and I would split the remaining 40%. Even with the smaller percentage, we'd make more money than we'd ever seen. Tommy said no immediately. "Sam, we built this company with our own hands. We don't need his dirty money." But I did the math. 40% of 30 million was still more than either of us would make in a lifetime. I pushed, I argued, I wore him down. "Tommy," I said, "this is our shot, our one shot. You want to spend the rest of your life fixing leaky roofs and building backyard decks. You want Sarah and Tommy Jr. to struggle like we did." For 2 weeks, we fought about it. 2 weeks of tension, of arguments, of me slowly convincing him that this was the right move. Finally, on a Friday night, sitting in our office after everyone had gone home, Tommy looked at me with tired eyes and said, "Sam, if this is what you want, okay, but I've got a bad feeling about this." We signed with Vinny the next Monday. Within 6 months, we had the contract. Within a year, we were millionaires, on paper. But Vinny had lied. The 60% ownership gave him complete control. Every decision went through him. Every subcontractor had to be approved by him. And slowly I started to understand what Tommy had seen from the beginning. We weren't partners anymore. We were employees. High-paid employees, but employees nonetheless. The work got sloppy. Materials got cheaper. Corners got cut. Tommy hated it. He'd come to me every day with complaints about the quality, about the safety violations, about the bribes Vinny was paying to inspectors. "Sam," he'd say, "this isn't us. This isn't who we are." But I was making more money than I'd ever dreamed of. I had a big house in the suburbs, a BMW in the driveway, suits from Brooks Brothers. For the first time in my life, people treated me with respect, not because of who I was, but because of what I had. The end came in 1986. Tommy discovered that Vinny was using substandard concrete in the foundation work. Buildings that were supposed to last 50 years wouldn't last 15. Tommy brought me the evidence, photos, invoices, everything. "Sam, we have to report this. People are going to live in these buildings, families, kids." I looked at those papers, and I knew he was right. I knew we had a moral obligation to speak up, but I also knew that if we reported Vinny, we'd lose everything. The money, the reputation, the future I'd built for myself. "Tommy," I said, "maybe it's not as bad as it looks. Maybe the concrete will hold. Maybe we're worrying about nothing." The look he gave me, I'll never forget it. Disappointment, betrayal, heartbreak. He realized in that moment that I was choosing money over our friendship, money over doing the right thing. "Sam," he said quietly, "the man I knew would never say that. The man I dragged out of that rice paddy would never say that." He quit the next day, walked away from millions of dollars rather than be part of what we'd become. He tried to report the concrete problem, but without inside evidence, without my testimony. No one would listen to a disgruntled ex-partner. I stayed. I kept quiet. I collected my checks. 3 years later, in 1989, one of those buildings collapsed, a partial foundation failure during a minor earthquake. No one died, thank God, but 12 families lost everything they had, their homes, their belongings, their sense of security. I saw the news coverage. I saw the families crying on television, and I knew I was responsible. Tommy called me that night, the first time we'd spoken since he quit. "Sam," he said, "I hope it was worth it." He moved to Oregon with Maria and the kids, started over. I heard through mutual friends that he went back to small construction jobs, honest work. He died of a heart attack in 2003. I wasn't invited to the funeral. I kept working with Vinny for another 10 years, made millions more, bought bigger houses, fancier cars, took expensive vacations. I was rich, I was successful, and I was miserable. Because here's what nobody tells you about money. It doesn't buy friendship. It doesn't buy loyalty. It doesn't buy respect, not real respect. And it sure as hell doesn't buy back the people you betrayed to get it. I've got $12 million sitting in various accounts. 12 million. You know what good it does me now? None. I can't eat it. I can't talk to it. I can't ask it to visit me in the hospital when I'm dying. I tried to reach out to Tommy's kids after he died. Sarah and Tommy Jr., they wouldn't take my calls. Maria sent me a letter, one line. "You made your choice 40 years ago, Samuel. Live with it." So here I am, 88 years old, surrounded by wealth and drowning in loneliness. I traded the best friendship of my life for money that couldn't fill the hole, losing that friendship created. People think rich people are happy. Some might be, but I'm here to tell you that money without relationships is just expensive misery. Success without integrity is just gilded failure. I think about Tommy every day. I think about the choice I made in that office in 1986. I think about the man I used to be, the man he saw in me, the man I threw away for a bank balance. If I could go back, if I could do it over, I'd walk away with Tommy. I'd report the concrete problem. I'd choose friendship over money, integrity over profit. Because at the end of your life, when you're sitting alone counting your regrets instead of counting your blessings, you realize that the only wealth that matters is the love you shared and the trust you kept. Tommy was right. Brothers don't keep score, but they also don't sell each other out. I'm dying alone because I chose money over the one person who would have stayed by my side until the end. Don't make my mistake. Don't trade your relationships for anything, no matter how much it's worth. Because when everything else is gone, when the money is spent and the success is forgotten, the people who truly love you are all that matter. And I threw mine away for pieces of paper that I'll never be able to spend. The richest I ever was the loneliest I ever was. Learn from my stupidity.